Well, welcome back. We are back here at another episode of the Match Esports podcast. This podcast is all about esports and everything that happened in the past weekend. There are a lot of other podcasts out there that talk about news and stuff, but this one's pretty much just recapping events. Every once in a while we'll give you news, but this one's mainly designed for if you're like on your way to work or if you're at work or something at the gym and you just on a Monday or a Wednesday, you just want to figure out what's going on the last weekend of esports. Well, you are in the right place. This weekend, we had a good amount of stuff going on. Not many games were going on, but we had a lot of League of Legends and CounterStrike action. So this one's not about quantity, it's more about quality. I am your host, Chetty, and I want to welcome you to another episode of The Match. First up on the list, we are going to travel all the way to Shanghai, China for the Starseries and League Season 7 CounterStrike Global Offensive event. Now, this tournament features an increased prize pool from the previous Star Ladder events. This one's at $500,000 US. This is the 7th season. This is going to be a best of 3 tournament and returns with the switch stage. So that means the teams that get to 3 wins before everyone else can make it out. Top 8 teams from the group stage will be going to playoffs, and playoffs a single elimination best of 3. In the group stage, the Swiss round robin, we had Fnatic and Renegades making it out, going undefeated, not dropping a single game in the group stage. The second wave of competitors that made it out was Team ENCE, Esports from, I think it's Finland, they're Finnish, Na'Vi from the CIS region, and the French Vitality making it out 3-1. And last but not least, the last wave of competitors to make it out with a 3-2 scoreline was Energy Esports, North, and Ninjas in Pajamas. Moving on to the playoffs, we had the best teams in this tournament. Starting off with Energy versus Vitality. Energy took that one 2-0. Following that was Fnatic taking down North 2-1. Renegades followed that up with a 2-0 victory over Ninjas and Pajamas in a close series. Went the way of Na'Vi 2-1 over ENCE Esports. Next up is the semifinals, where Energy went to take on Fnatic, who didn't drop a single game, except for North, that one map. But they kept their streak pretty flawless by taking down Energy 2-0. On the other side of the bracket was Na'Vi taking on Renegades, who were surging at this tournament. Unfortunately, they fell to the Russian juggernauts 2-1. Moving on to the finals, best of 5, Na'Vi taking on Fnatic. 2 big organizations in the Counter-Strike world coming together over in China for a best of 5 series. And in the end, it was Na'Vi with Simple leading the charge, taking down Fnatic 3-0. Fnatic's run was almost perfect until they lost. It was perfect until it wasn't perfect. Anyways, Na'Vi walk away with $25,000 US. Wait, $250,000 US. I can't read. I swear to God, I failed math. Na'Vi looks to go to Miami next weekend at the Watsco Center, which is the next CSGO event that is going to be hosted by Blast Pro Series, where they host 6 teams around the world to come to one location to battle it out for the best Counter-Strike team in the world. The 6 teams that will be there next weekend are Cloud9, Made in Brazil, aka MIBR, FaZe Clan, Astralis, Team Liquid, and of course Na'Vi. Check it out. It's going to be great. Next up on the list, we have the biggest event that went on last weekend, and that was LCS, aka League of Legends in North America. This weekend was the semifinals for the North American League, which featured 2 monstrous matchups. On Saturday, we kicked off with El Clasico TSM versus Cloud9, For those of you who don't know, these organizations have been rivals for as long as both of them have been in the league. TSM hasn't won since 2017 and Cloud9 hasn't won since 2014. Winning this means that they get to go to the finals in St. Louis. But before that, they had to face each other at the LCS studio in a best of 5 to make sure they punched their ticket to go there. In Game 1, Cloud9 dominated, while TSM could barely get any of their lanes going, picking a bunch of carries in the lanes, but they couldn't do it. C9 won that game, 27 minutes, easy peasy. In Game 2, it was the same story, scoreline of 12-4 in 27 minutes for Cloud9, and it was just a C9 story until Game 3. In Game 3, Cloud9 started off very strong, pressuring every lane, stealing every objective thus far, but it was one fight in the bot lane that changed the course of this game to Bjergsen turned the tides with an amazing Akali flank. That is why he's Bjergsen. I love his beard. Shout out his beard. TSM took that win to get one step closer to tying up the series. Moving on to Game 4, TSM took control of that series with their momentum, dominating in 26 minutes over Cloud9 to bring it to Silver Scrapes Game 5. And of course in Game 5, everything was on the line, but both teams were swinging at each other with their hardest rights for 40 minutes. Cloud9 on the back foot, they tried one last fight, but they just couldn't do it. TSM with a clean ace punched their ticket to the finals to take on the winner of Team Liquid and FlyQuest. Speaking of Team Liquid and FlyQuest, that happened on Sunday in a best of 5 as well. FlyQuest, the underdogs, with a lot to prove. Pobelter in the mid lane looking to take on his former team. In Game 1, they looked very strong. FlyQuest started out looking great, got solo kills, they aced TL many times, was back and forth. Even with double lift on Sona, Team Liquid managed to climb their way back through impact on Kennen to seal the game in 39 minutes. Game 2, that was just a complete stomp. That's where everything went to shit for FlyQuest. This is where the Team Liquid show really started. FlyQuest put all their lanes on carries, and that just didn't work out because they couldn't execute, and TL won that in 24 minutes. Game 3, same story. FlyQuest was broken, and they just slowly bled out. There were points where they tried swinging, but in the end, they just could not do it. They showed glimpses, but they just couldn't do it. It happens. It happens. TL is just that good. Everyone expected them to win. No doubt about that. With that win, Team Liquid, punched their ticket to St. Louis this next coming weekend for the LCS Finals. Winner of TSM versus Team Liquid gets to go to the Mid-Season Invitational over in Europe. Be sure to watch History in the Making. Team Liquid, TSM, spring split on the line. Also around the world, there are much other League of Legends tournaments going on. We had the LEC, which is League European Champions. They had their semifinals as well. I like their quarterfinals because their playoffs is a little different as well. Anyway, last weekend, they were quarterfinals over in LEC. They had similar results as LCS, almost like the script writing is really bad, but hey, whatever. The first quarterfinal featured a surging Fnatic taking down the underdogs in Splice 3-1. Moving on to their semifinals. The other quarterfinals, the other quarterfinals featured the G2 Juggernauts taking down their organizational rival Origin 3-0. Since they are the number 1 seed, that quarterfinal win punches their ticket to the finals. So they have to play whoever is the winner of the semifinals. In the semifinals, Fnatic will take on Origin to see who will win to go to Rotterdam to face the number 1 seed G2 in the finals. Also, the talk of the town was LCK, League Champions Korea. I don't think I've ever talked about the LCK on this podcast. I am from North America, so go figure. I pay attention to everything that's going on in North America, so there's a lot going on around the world. To do what I can, okay? Make an honest living. For those of you who don't know, LCK, League Champions Korea, is the Korean League of Legends region. It is the best in the world, renowned for the best players, best teams in the world. They always win worlds. Fuck them. Last weekend, Kingzone Dragon X took down Damwon Gaming to move forward to face SKT in the semifinals. As stacked as the King Zone Dragon X roster was, it just wasn't as stacked as SKT roster. SKT actually has a legendary roster. They took down King Zone 3-0 to punch their ticket to the finals to face the New Bloods in Griffin. A lot of words been exchanged about this matchup. We really have a new rivalry on our hands. I can't wait to watch it. It's gonna be really great. Winner of this also goes to MSI. New Blood versus Old Gods. Tune in on Sunday as all three regions have their finals. Last but not least, the Overwatch League returns this past weekend for Season 2, Stage 2, after a grand Stage 1 finals. This stage has 5 weeks as well, and this weekend was only week 1, so we still have a lot more weeks to go. There's going to be a lot of action until the end of this stage, but until then, we have to weed out who's going to be a winner and who's going to be a loser. And that starts off with matches. Last Thursday, the inaugural Stage 2 match featured New York Excelsior taking on the Philadelphia Fusion. That went New York's way, the Excelsior's way, 4-0. The next matchup was Boston Uprising versus the Atlanta Reign. Boston took that one 3-2. After that, the LA Gladiators made quick work of the Shanghai Dragons with a 3-1 scoreline. And to end the day off on Thursday, the Paris Eternal took down the Guangzhou Charge 4-0. Friday was no shortage of action as it kicked off with London Spitfire, Stage 1, Season 1 finalist, taking down Florida, who have been struggling. Spitfire 2-1 over Mayhem. Washington Justice, the new team, takes on another new team, the Toronto Defiant. Washington Justice, Toronto Defiant. Toronto Defiant won that one 3-1. Third match on Friday was a San Francisco Shock 4-0, not giving LA Valiants a chance in the third game. And the last game of the day on Friday featured the LA Gladiators in a close match with the Seoul Dynasty, taking that one 3-2. On Saturday, Florida versus Philly, Battle of the East Coast. Philly took that one 3-1. Florida took their Nick Foles. Philly, he's coming back for blood. Boston Uprising followed that up with their taking down their Canadian neighbors 3-1. New York Excelsior showed the Shanghai Dragons who's boss. Poor Dragons. New York Excelsior 3-0. Third game of the day. Last game on Saturday featured the Chengdu Hunters featuring the Paris Eternal. The Chengdu Hunters avenging their Chinese brethren for the Thursday loss, taking down the Paris Eternal 4-0. Last but not least, the last day of the inaugural week is the San Francisco Shock taking down the Guangzhou Charge. That goes the way of the San Francisco Shock 4-0, who are also finalists in the last stage. Atlanta fell just short once again to the London Spitfire 4-0. Vancouver Titans made their inaugural start for Stage 2 after winning Stage 1. They took down Guangzhou 4-0. No surprise there. Last but not least, the Washington Justice took on the Chengdu Hunters and were upset by the Chengdu Hunters 3-1. That does it for that first week of the Overwatch League. Season 2, Stage 2, Week 2 kicks off next week, April 11th, aka tomorrow actually. This came out on April 10th. It was a Wednesday, so April 11th. It's going to be the start of it. So that starts at 6 p.m. Pacific. If you're interested, check it out. Now, with everything in the past weekend all recapped, and now you know, I'm going to give you a little insight on what's coming up next weekend. Give you little reminders in case you already knew, or in case you didn't know about anything that was going on at all, and I'm here to present you enlighten you with the new news. Like I said in the very first section of this podcast, the Blast Pro Series in Miami is going to be kicking off their CounterStrike Global Offensive Tournament at the Watsco Center. The 6 teams will be attending will be Cloud9, Made in Brazil, FaZe Clan, Astralis, Nadas Vincere aka Na'Vi, and Team Liquid. Also, there's going to be 2 different Smash events going on. 2GG, Prime Saga is a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Tournament. That's going to be going on the 13th through the 14th next weekend in La Merida, California. If you want some melee action, Saving Mr. Lombardi will be going on in Irvine, California. That is going to take place on April 13th and the 14th as well. And that will feature melee singles and doubles. So pick your poison, whichever one you want. I haven't brought up any fighting game tournaments in a while, so I feel like I've been doing everyone disjustice. But I'm going to do that right now. April Annihilation will be going on this next weekend, April 13th through the 14th as well. Only a couple games I'm going to name. There's many more. But games featured are Street Fighter V, Soul Calibur 6, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, Tekken 7, Smash Ultimate, Mortal Kombat XL. Everything's going to be there. Be sure to check it out. Whatever game you want to watch, respectively, check it out on Twitch and YouTube. And last but not least, like I said, Overwatch Stage 2 Week 2 coming up tomorrow, Thursday through the 14th. And of course, the LCS, LEC, and LCK League of Legends finals will all be taking place on Sunday. The LPL in China will be starting off their semifinals this next weekend as well, but we can look forward to that. Their finals next weekend. Anyway, that does it. Cue the outro music. Once again, that does it for another episode of the Match Esports Podcast. I want to thank you for being here with me today and listening to this through and through. I'm really surprised you made it this far. Anyways, if you have any critiques, if you have any comments, if you just want to make fun of me, feel free to tweet at me or message me on Twitter at The Match Esports. Also, be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at The Match Esports as well. We're also going to be coming out with some YouTube content. Excuse me. We're going to be coming out with some YouTube content here soon, so be sure to subscribe to us on The Match as well. Once again, I thank you for being here. This is Chetty at ChettyGod signing off, and I will see you next week on another episode of The Match.